Welcome to another episode of The Wrestling Bar with your host, The Funk, your host, P. Coda, and your host, Fuck the West.
Into the building.
What's up, Wes?
How you doing, man?
We just watched Monday Night Raw, June 23rd,
Mhm.
2025. What's your reaction, guys?
So overall, it was a solid show. The in-ring was just okay. Nothing like, super amazing. Um, but it seemed to all make sense. Like I understand where the storylines were, and so it's a solid show. I give it a minus two plus.
I like the show. It was a slow burn. We got, like Phil has said before, we got the Night of Champions coming up. We got Saturday Night Main Event. We got all these PLE type events coming up. So I think it needs to be a slow burn, right, to get there. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna stretch Goldberg versus Gunther until July 12th, I think it is.
Right.
That's a long time to go, right? That's a couple weeks still to go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they're gonna stretch that out and keep it hot, right? So yeah, I think they play it safe tonight, and I liked it. How about you, Phil?
Ah, at first I wasn't really so, drawn in because of just some of the feelings that I had from last week. But this week, they kind of redeemed themselves. I'd like to highlight that Gunther promo.
Very good.
Like,
Yes,
he rolled Goldberg up and smoked him. Like, that was
yes,
insane.
yes. It was
So,
good. Like he
good
said
job,
something.
Gunther.
He said something like he's going to delete,
Yes.
erase
Yes.
Goldberg's legacy forever, something like that.
Yes.
That was really good.
And then
He's
when
he can be cold.
yeah, and then when he walked out, like when he walked off the ring, walked up the ramp, man, he was looking like he was gonna rip Goldberg's arm off. Like he's just selling the hell out of it, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Hey, good job, man. Good
yeah,
job.
yeah.
Fired
The,
up there, man, is a problem for everybody, man.
Yeah,
He really is the best.
he is. He is. In the
uh,
ring, he
after
is.
Cody. What?
So if Gunther beats Goldberg and I'm sorry, and Gunther lost to Cody, you're saying that Cody's greater than Goldberg? Is
Never,
this what you're saying?
never, never. No. And my and we're gonna get into that, but my prediction is that Goldberg's gonna beat Gunther. In
Um,
Atlanta, baby. In Atlanta,
in
baby.
Atlanta, baby. I got my Falcon shirt on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Years ago, then I'd be like, yeah, okay. 5 years old.
So,
Yeah.
Funk, what do you want to talk about?
Who? Let's talk about John Cena's pipe bomb last week on SmackDown, only on the USA Network.
Yes.
The pipe bomb part two was not carried out by CM Punk.
Oh.
It was carried out by what he calls himself the greatest of all time, John Cena.
And the whole city of Grand Rapids, by the way.
Yes, kudos to that city. They were on fire. They
Hey,
were on fire.
They cheered for the heel
Yeah.
Cena. They
Yes.
cheered for him.
most breweries per capita, I promise you. If you ever go to Grand Rapids, you'll see every other corner is another brewery. So they were lit.
Nice.
That was good. That was a good crowd.
Yeah.
That made half the show, right? They already had a win halfway through with
Right.
that crowd. That crowd was
Yeah.
was on fire since the
Yeah.
minute one. So it was good. So he did, from everything he said, right? I mean, he did say some pretty controversial things that Punk was the best in the world for what, 7 minutes? 14 years ago.
Yep.
So he's saying some things that some fans
Yeah.
think about that. Like his prime
Yeah.
absolutely has passed, right? For both of them, right? For both of them. But in Punk's case, he left many years ago,
Right.
and Cena stayed,
Right.
and Cena dominated.
Correct.
So that's what he's alluding to, right? So yeah, it's interesting. And then he did mention three names,
Yes.
three names outside WWE.
Yes.
And the internet wrestling community is going bananas over it because that's how we are.
Yes. That's how we do it.
That's how we do it. And he mentioned Claudio Castagnoli, which is formerly known as Cesaro in the WWE. He's currently in All Elite Wrestling. And he mentioned Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler.
Yep.
He always showed the world. And he's currently in the TNA roster, which they have a partnership with.
Right.
And he also mentioned Matt Cardona, which formerly known as Zack Ryder.
Woo, woo, woo.
Woo, woo, woo.
You know it.
Yeah, he's currently in the TNA roster as well.
Yes.
And he's married to former women's U.S. champion Chelsea Green.
The first ever.
My president. Personally, my president. Okay. She's my president. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Any thoughts, Wes?
Yeah.
Well, you know what everybody's alluding to with the three names. They seem that he said names, but they think that he's referring to Colt Cabana, Mickey Matt Jackson. That's what they're thinking.
That's a freaking stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, this is some.
That's what the internet marks are.
Because of their first letters, C, N, and M. So N would be for Nicholas Jackson and Matthew Jackson from the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
And what is the C?
Colt Cabana.
Colt Cabana.
Oh my God.
That's why everybody's losing their minds. But how about this? A part of me says it is ridiculous, but another part of me is because he said it so slow. You just like it makes me think he's alluding to something. So,
Because it's I think this is some Taylor Swift shit. where they try to find meaning in what she says, and she said this number because this happened this year and all. This is crazy. You
I
were saying-
love the fact that they were cheering for him in Grand Rapids because you and I have debated John Cena since he's gone heel numerous times, and you can't stand this run, Funk, and basically the masses prove to you that they love this run. They think it's entertaining. He AA'd CM Punk through a table, and CM Punk was laughing. You saw some scenes? Some clips? CM Punk was up there halfway unconscious, halfway laughing. It's entertainment. It's keeping the title relevant. CM Punk's got to rest up because he's got a match on Saturday, right?
Yeah. I think this is the only really good segment since he turned heel. That's my issue with his heel turn.
Really?
Yeah, this segment, double A, right? A plus. I loved it.
I think he's giving rubs all around, man. Like we talk about that tag team match that he had. Everybody got a rub out of it. Even the heat now with him and R-Truth. There's so many levels to that. We don't even know how that's gonna happen. What could come out of that. Logan Paul. I mean, him and Logan Paul just pushing each other and shoving each other as a tag team. I mean, he's basically giving Logan Paul a rub, right? Randy Orton, I mean, he cut his promo as soon as he won the title, and then Randy Orton gave him an RKO out of nowhere, which went viral, by the way.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The RKO that it was given to Joe Hendry
Hmm.
at Mania was much better than the RKO that Cena. It was more impactful. I'm not saying it hasn't been okay, but it hasn't been not nearly this good. He turned heel, hugging Cody with
Yes.
that face.
Yes.
That was cinema. The kids say these days, right?
Yeah.
And SmackDown, it was cinema again, right? But
Yeah.
in between them, what do you think was?
How about this? This is how big Cena is, man. Cena, AA's R-Truth threw a table at a pay-per-view, right?
Yeah.
And then R-Truth gets fired, comes back, and one of the most impactful part of that show is R-Truth showing up and interfering in that tag match.
Yes.
Yes, but
That's
you cannot credit Cena for that though.
what you kind of have to.
You do.
No, no,
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
It could have been
R-Truth.
anyone. It could have
No, no,
been
no.
anyone.
John
The,
Cena is R-Truth's mentee.
Yeah.
Okay? That man's he does the five moves of doom better than John Cena does.
he does.
Okay? He
He does.
studies them. The whole
Hmm.
character development has been
His
around
childhood hero.
John Cena. When he grows up, he wants to be like John Cena.
Exactly,
The
exactly. I
whole thing.
understand that. I understand that. But the fact that R-Truth got so over when he was released and people were chanting, "We want truth," and literally made him come back, even though WWE denies it, right?
Yep.
We made R-Truth come back to the company. You can't attribute that to John Cena. You have to attribute that to R-Truth, his talent, and the fans backing him up in social media and everywhere.
You know what though? How would they have brought him back otherwise? You bring him back, he lifts off the thing, and it's him, and then he's messing up a John Cena match, and then you give him a whole other match on his own against Cena.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's
It
like,
wouldn't have gone as viral. I think that if he hadn't had that match with Cena at Saturday Night Main Event, which was the main event, by the way, then he got released. Then he was brought back. If he gotten released as like a tag wrestler, I really don't think it would have gone as viral as it was. Like he was literally the main event at a PLE, and it was
It
Ron
was
Cena versus
Saturday.
John Cena.
Saturday Night Main Event is not a PLE.
Okay, well, whatever it is, it's a show.
It's a special
It's a
show.
main event. Okay, fine. He was
Yeah.
the main event at a Saturday night show,
big show.
and
Big
it
show.
was
Yeah.
John Cena versus Ron Cena. Like
That was
that's
good.
pretty dope.
That's the other moment between his heel turn, Cena's heel turn, and now on SmackDown that was better than average, right?
Yeah.
Better than average. It was good, but yeah, I don't know. When I criticize Cena's
Yeah.
heel turn
Yeah.
was because I don't think that I'm not looking at the numbers, right?
Sure.
Merchandise sales numbers, and maybe as a fan I shouldn't care that much, but as a business fan, right? Which
Right.
we care about the business behind it because we love to talk about it, and
Right.
we're businessmen ourselves, right? Um, I don't think it's a good move, right? I wouldn't have done it in my own company because you have all these children buying his merchandise. I imagine those sales will have slowed down.
But got to look at like how Sting went out. How Sting went out, right? Were those matches memorable?
Went out in AEW or
In
WWE?
AEW, this last run.
I think the last event in North Carolina, was it?
Yeah, North
Was
Carolina.
it,
That one cool. But
that
like
was great.
some of the other matches, like the lead up to it, it
Phil, nah. So Phil,
just saying.
they made a big deal about Sting coming back. And I'm not gonna say every time, but most of the time when you saw him in a ring or one of those cinematic matches, you're like, oh snap, that's Sting. It's a big deal because Sting's a big deal, and I'm gonna have to reference my boy
But
who's talking all night.
what I was gonna say about the Sting thing is he went out the way that he wanted to go out.
He did.
And I think that John Cena, if he wants to go out this way, let him go out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Creative freedom. I understand that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand that.
let him go out. And clearly, he over here cutting promos, and people are as a heel, and people are cheering for him. That's pretty dope.
Listen, you can't deny that Cena's promo work is A plus. Now, has this run been A plus? No.
No.
But like when he decides to turn it on, it's going to be A plus. And so we'll have a little more time in him and Punk interactions and whatnot. But like, he's going to start with some great promos.
So how about the predictability though, right? Because we know he's staying in WWE for another 6 months,
Yeah.
and he reminds us of this, right? There's 6 more months to go, and and out taking this championship home. I don't think he's gonna lose it until the very end of that run.
And
Maybe not. You can't see him, okay? He's the never seen 17. I mean, you just don't know. What if Punk wins this joint? For real. I mean, the last time they fought, Cena got over on some BS, right? At the Elimination Chamber, right? Because of Rollins. So who knows? Punk could win this joint.
No, he can't.
He could.
No,
And
he won't.
and be looking over his shoulder at a potential cash in from Seth Rollins.
early. It's too early.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
It could happen.
So Cena's going to keep it to the end. But the one thing I will say, you guys talk about storylines being weak. Like, the fact that we don't know who's it going to be, and the people that he's wrestling are viable people.
Right.
Like, he could lose.
He
But
could.
most people don't think he will. But one of these viable people's go take the belt at the end.
Yeah.
He ain't going to leave with the belt.
No.
That ain't going to happen.
No. But it's a good story while it goes on. That's all I'm saying. And he's making the title more relevant and fighting A-plus players that potentially could take the title versus our previous champion that you had, which was an embarrassment, and booking and otherwise, and was very boring for the first for a whole year with the title. These last like 3 or 4 beefs he's had have been more significant than about 6 months of that title reign.
You want to know the problem that I have with that is that, okay, you could be right. But who do you think is going to be one of these guys who's going to challenge him for the belt? It's going to be Cody. Cody is going to get his run at it, and Cody's probably going to be the guy to take it back.
Correct.
Is it going to be at SummerSlam? Because, I mean, if he wins King of the Ring, they get an automatic title shot.
But
Probably.
So there's a potential, right?
Whatever he wants it to be, right? It doesn't have to be at SummerSlam, right?
No. Well, no, it's a SummerSlam. It's a SummerSlam. It's a SummerSlam. That's whoever wins King of the Ring is SummerSlam.
Yeah.
It
but it could be after SummerSlam. Cena could cheat again. The Rock could show up at SummerSlam and cost Cody the match, and he will still have a claim. And he will still have a claim. Keep him on the chase, right? We like to see Cody on the chase. How about this alternative storyline? How about John Cena does take the title home
when
he retires?
That'd be dope.
And then there's only one World Heavyweight Championship in WWE, which is what Gunther has today.
Correct.
That title, we all know, is the second title, as much as they want to elevate it.
True.
But if it's the only World Heavyweight title, then it would be the big belt at that point. What if they take this title for a year outside WWE, and then John Cena brings it back and gives it to someone, or they bring it back somehow later? Because all the WWE, I mean, I don't know if people think about this, but that championship, the undisputed WWE championship, has all the history, all the lineage, right? from the old NWA, the
Yeah,
old WWF Worldwide Wrestling Federation with
right,
Vince McMahon Sr., WWF, the WCW, which was merged with that
right,
championship, right? It was
correct,
unified. And if you see the history, the Intercontinental, the US title, they were also unified with that title, and then they split them up.
right,
And then the championship that they brought, that Eric Bischoff awarded to Triple H, the World Heavyweight title, the big goal, right? The big goal
yes,
brought back. Eventually, that was also unified with this title.
correct,
So every lineage is in this championship, in this piece
correct,
of hardware.
And he's the real champion. And the last one, and he's taking it home with them. But they're gonna find a way to take it off of him. But
right.
it's just who's it gonna be, and who's a big enough star to do it. And I think there's 3 or 4 guys who have a shot. Like
Cody, and Cody.
You know, it's not just Cody. You can do so many. It could be Randy Orton.
I would love Randy Orton to win it,
It could be
but I
Randy
don't
Orton.
see that happening. I
It
will,
could
I
be.
would love that for that.
It could be Randy Orton.
If Randy doesn't beat Cody at King of the Ring, and I don't think he will, even though I would love him to win that because I don't I'm a big Cody Rose fan, as
We
everyone
know.
knows,
We know.
I don't want to see him win King of the Ring. He won Royal Rumble twice. He got his stats. I would love to see Randy Orton win this tournament. That would be my preference.
I agree with that. And the only reason why I agree with it is because I don't want him to have anywhere near Stone Cold Steve Austin's stats. I'm just being honest. I'm
He's
keeping
getting
it real.
there. He's getting there.
I'm keeping it exactly. And I don't like that. Y'all made him a back-to-back Royal Rumble winner,
Well,
two-time?
yeah,
No.
as someone would say, Phil, if you the yin yang, right? I didn't want to see Cena as number 17, right? So there you go. There you go, Phil.
You're right. You know what? I'll eat the humble pie. You're right. You're right. I don't want him to win the King of the Ring. I want Randy Orton to win King of the Ring. Randy Orton's never been King of the Ring. He's a 14-time champion. I would love to see him become a 15 or 16-time, 17-time champion. I'd love him to beat John Cena's record. That's just
Yes.
me.
Yes.
why
So
not?
I want Randy Orton to win. But to be honest, in this Triple H regime, really dictatorship that we've got going on, um, Emperor Triple H might just give it to Cody. And, you know,
The Golden Boy.
yeah. And we could see him and Cena, again. I could see that. Um, but I would like Cena to, like you said, Cena to take the title home. He's not going to do that. I think that it's going to get to the point he's going to probably lose it at the end or whatever. I don't think he's going to take it home. He's not that selfish. He's been very selfless. Like this 17, he's 17, you're never seen 17. But honestly, he's been giving a lot of rubs. He's been performing a lot with the title, more than you expected, right? Honestly, these last couple months, he's performed more now than he has in the last 4 or 5 years.
He's told us how many dates he had, so he's
Correct.
fulfilling his obligation.
Yeah.
So we know the two. So Randy, and
Orton.
Cody.
so who else? Randy
I'd
Cody.
say CM Punk. I say CM Punk. I say CM Punk. I say CM Punk. I would
LA
say
Knight.
LA. No, not Cena.
I was about to say that. I was gonna had to comment on that.
Why not? When you can elevate someone that is right there, has the fan favor behind him. No, is what? No substance.
It's not that there's no substance. I don't feel like that's where the direction in which you guys really want him to go. If you really wanted him to go there, you would have put him in a better position to win Money in the Bank. He would be a number one contender. He's not a number one. He's still playing in the mid-card game, and we don't even know what we want to do with him.
He's a very good U.S. champion or intercontinental. He's in that mix.
Right.
I think that his time has passed. Like I think he's over. I think the fans really like him.
Correct.
Looks the part. He's good enough in the ring to make it kind of fudge his way into like a big boy championship run.
Yeah.
But like I think at this point, like even tonight, they wrote, oh, he suffered all these injuries and everything else. That's their way of writing him off TV and figuring what in the world they're going to do with him.
Yep.
Well, I have an argument to that. So if you look at the roster from the men's side, who gets the biggest pops from them all? It's Jey Uso,
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns when he shows up, right? CM Punk for sure,
Yeah.
and LA Knight. Those are the top five in terms of crowd reaction on the men's side. I don't know if how he competes with Rhea Ripley but on the men's side he gets the top five biggest reactions.
I
And
agree.
if Jey Uso, which is the tag team wrestler, got to make it and win at WrestleMania against Gunther, the World Heavyweight Championship,
Made him tap.
anything can happen. And made him tap. Anything can happen in
can
the
happen.
WWE.
But the WWE Championship, like you said, the lineage of that title, I definitely believe that LA Knight can be world heavyweight. Not a question in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But WWE Champion, I just don't see them doing that. Like off the rip. Because think about it. They didn't even do it with Jey Uso. They gave him the world heavyweight. The reason why I was even behind Jey Uso was because it's the world heavyweight. Like you said, it was not a watered down, but it was developed to be a workhorse title for the big boys. And that's kind of the box that I put him in. I can see him being the face of the company. Like LA Knight could do it, but you're 40 close to 45 years old. If we're gonna do this, he should have won the Royal Rumble this year.
The good news, he looks younger.
He does.
But the bad news is that I just don't think that they feel that way about him.
Correct.
I think I think that LA Knight, I like him a lot, but his character is very superficial, shallow, right? It's just a couple of catchphrases. There is no why is he here? What's his motivation? Like, where he comes from, what is he about, what he cares about. There's not like a lot of depth into his character.
But that's what LA is all about.
True.
And that's kind of the mold, right? Glitz, glamour, LA, image, sports cars.
True.
He's basically the American version of Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah. He's a Maxim model.
Rio. Sorry.
Yeah.
Roll the R's, you freaking.
Roll the freaking R's, perro.
So, that's kind of the gimmick. And I get it. But like I said, the WWE Championship, I don't know. But World Heavyweight, yeah, absolutely, yeah. World Heavyweight needs to be on SmackDown, I think, at this point. Doesn't need to stay on Raw. Go to do the draft and bring it over to SmackDown and let LA Knight go over and stay over there and let him and Gunther or him and somebody else beef. I think it would work. You can keep WWE title on Raw, whatever. Because you've basically been on Raw anyway. You don't respect the brand split. And that's another reason why I feel like, it's like you said, they wrote him off TV because they think they gave him all these injuries and everything else. They don't know what they want to do with him. I would love to see him win the title. The last person I was going to say that I think could win the title could be Drew McIntyre. And I know that, he hasn't been winning a lot of matches, et cetera, et cetera. I don't feel like he's had a big direction either these last few months. Over here fighting with Damian Priest, basically in the mid card, fighting for the U.S. title, which is cool because it helped Jacob Fatu definitely get over. Still beating the shit out of each other in that fatal 4-way match, which LA Knight was a part of, right? Along with Damian and like I said, the direction.
But it's heel Drew. Heel versus heel.
He can come back as a face.
Mm,
He come back as a face,
but
Claymore the shit out of somebody.
yeah, he was a great face, but his work as a heel has been so over the top, so great that I don't think they'll do it.
Okay, but he only had out of his he won the title twice as a face. He beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania as a face.
Drew McIntyre, one thing we do know is that at a certain point, he's gonna snap, and when he snaps, he beats everybody.
Yeah.
So, like, I got full faith in that. And you want to know what? This is way off the beaten path. I don't think he can win the big boy belt. But Javi, I see something in your boy Cross.
I was gonna bring him up next.
This conversation
Hmm.
is that
Oh man.
they used him right. He's a calculated, crazy person. But if you just have him go way off the deep end and go ridiculously crazy, like you could do something with that.
I agree. I mean, of course, I agree. Karen Cross, TikTok, Fallen Prey. He's gonna come back and he's gonna have this match with Sami Zayn. He's gonna beat Sami Zayn, and then he's gonna go to the main event. I totally agree.
But he's not in this conversation.
Not in Saudi, he's not. Hell no. Not in Saudi.
Should.
Sorry.
I think he should.
You got Sammy over here speaking in their native tongue. That's not gonna happen.
Well, how about Damian Priest